And developments on the Rwanda deportation flights, Diane, another
much easier to resolve
issue.
Oh, yeah, I've got this in the bag.
Yeah.
So, Rwanda deportation flight, appeal judges throw out bid to stop migrants' plan. So, 1 million lawyers have come running onto the beaches going, we will stop you from going to Rwanda. And the lawyers have just poured into this and they've gone, right, who's being sent to Rwanda? I will stop that flight for you. Meanwhile, there's a load of families in Gatwick going, we're just trying to get to Malaga, please help us.
And the Court of Appeal has said...
And the Court of Appeal has said, no, most of you are still going to go. Some of you aren't. And they're saying that on this first inaugural flight, there's only going to be 11 people.
Yes.
But Boris is saying, well, even if there's only one, it's still going to go.
OK, well, can I ask you, Josh, about this? Because there was an interesting article by Brendan O'Neill in Spiked about this, but he's talking about it's less an issue of what we think about the policy of deporting people to Rwanda, but it's about who makes our democratic decisions. You know, we've had the Archbishop of Canterbury weigh in, we've had Prince Charles weigh in, we've had lawyers, we've got the House of Lords, right? So you've got all these undemocratic bodies trying to influence the... Isn't it up to the government that we elected to make a decision and to see that carried through?
I've seen that argument, and I don't agree with it, because the whole system is part of the process. There's a reason why we have appeal courts and lawyers and things like that. They are part of the same system as government. Now, the government can make that decision, but of course then it has to go up to the House of Lords. So there are all these checks and things in places in our democracy to allow those things to be questioned legally and whatever. That's why the system's there as it is.
You don't worry about people exploiting the judiciary in order to influence political...
Well, I'm glad, because the thing that people say is exploitation, this is also something in terms of those same lawyers can then question the right to protest or whatever. Right. So that they're necessary and they're part of what makes this system work as a whole. Of course, there are people who can exploit it for their own political ends, but that is the democracy that we live in, and I'm glad that there are checks and balances, and I'd argue those are part of the checks and balances.
Do you understand the bind that the government's in? I mean, they have to do something.
No, I'm not presenting... I'm just talking about as a whole, the thing. This particular situation is... it's a really tricky thing. There were 130 people originally on the flight. Yeah. That's now gone. You said 11. It's actually just dropped to 10. So by tomorrow, but Boris Johnson is saying if it's one person, it's still happening, because what it really is about here is the imagery of it. Yes. That's what they're really trying to show is, i.e. to the people who are in Calais saying, if you come over here, we have the ability to... So you might as well not come over here. And they want that photo.
Isn't the effect, though, to try and undermine the criminal gangs and the people traffickers?
Well, but that's what they say. And I just want to say this, because this is one point I wanted to make. This is always... all the Tory MPs, everybody who's pushing this is saying it's all about stopping the thing. But the reality is the people who they had up, one of the persons was a Nigerian whose visa had overrun. That's got nothing to do necessarily. This person might have come here legally through an airport and just overstayed their visa. So that's not particularly about. But I'm not saying that there aren't criminal gangs, and I'm not saying that this person necessarily should or shouldn't be deported, because I know that there are cases in the Home Office. They have behaved abysmally, as far as I'm concerned. But immigration's a problem. I don't have a solution.
Yeah, I suppose I just wonder whether the cries of racist aren't helping this sort of sensitive debate. But anyway,